Good morning, mercy. You come in worthy. Feels like the sun shines on my day. Living good beside it. Break out in the world. Good vibes in the air. You want me love. Hi, everyone. Give me 1 second to turn Miss Alexa off. Alexa off, please. Okay, because we don't want any issues with videos we're not music we're not supposed to be playing. So hi everyone, this is Carrie Cunningham from Endless Designs by Carrie. Most of you know I also have a Facebook group. Oh my goodness, a Facebook group. I have to slow down a little bit. Um, I kind of wanted to start this Presser Foot Friday because I know we buy machines and they have 3 or 4 presser foots. Some have 10 or 12 presser foots. And I believe for our domestic machines, there are 34 or 35 total presser foots that you can do. So, what I'm going to do is the plan is that I will come on every other week, Tuesdays at 2 or Fridays at 2. I'm busy on Tuesdays. Fridays at 2 every other week and do a couple of feet at a time just to get everybody acclimated and get those presser feet out the box. Because I know you have your machines out of the box already, right? You do. Give me 1 second. Trying to make sure. Okay, we're good. So I didn't get my camera set up quite the way I wanted to, but I do have 2 cameras, one for me that you can see, and one for the machine. So it's going to take me a minute to go back and forth. So bear with me, but I am going to get started. So the first foot that we're going to use is, I'm trying to make sure I'm actually live. The first foot I'm going to use is the Overcast foot. So not everyone has a serger, and so you can't always finish your garments the way you would really like to. So we'll be using this foot. Let me find something to point with. So this foot, get it in the right view here, is, I want it over here. So this foot is the Overcast foot. So it has the kind of 2 parts here, the small part and the large part. In between those is a guide. I'll show you the guide in just a second. But the guide, your fabric comes in on this side and it presses up against this guide, and that keeps your fabric right on the edge where you're going to stitch at. So I'll show you the back. And there you can see the guide. Put it down on my shirt a little bit. It's kind of sticking out there. And that will help you keep everything straight, keep your fabric straight, keep your stitches right along the edge of your fabric. And so this is a clip-on presser foot, no screws needed. So I am going to switch my camera and clip it on for you. And then I have some scrap fabric. We all use scrap fabric, right? So I have some scrap fabric that I'll be using to show you how this works. So to put it on the machine, my presser foot is up, or the lever is up. And then you just put it under, and there's a little bar in the center of that presser foot that kind of clicks into the bar on the shaft. And one way you can make sure that it's on is to lift it up and down. I know I got a little bit of glare. I'm going to try to get rid of some of that, but I also don't want you to not be able to see what I'm doing. It's all the metallics on our machine, all the metal here that gives us this crazy glare. So let's see if we can get that going for you. I think that's good. If not, let me know. Okay, I was just double checking. Um, I don't see any comments. That's why I keep double checking. But it looks like we've been live for about 4 minutes and it's 2:04, so I guess we are live. So I'm going to start. So I have black thread in the machine for some of the fabric, and then I'm going to switch to a white thread for my darker, heavier fabric. So the way it goes in again is it's lined up on the left side of the foot, and so the right edge of your fabric is against this little bar that we talked about. And so this first setting, there's three different ways to use this foot. So I'll show you all three. The first way is to set the machine to a zigzag foot, just a simple zigzag foot. I'm sorry, number 7 on my machine. And I will show you a picture on my phone because again, we got a glare. I don't want you to see it clearly. And I tested it before and I just kept getting kind of a blur. So I took some pictures. What do you think about that? So here's my guide at the top of my machine. So this is my guide at the top of my machine, and it shows me where what the stitches are and how to access them. And so the first one we're going to be doing is this stitch. On my machine, I have a Juki F400. On my machine, it's the number 4. But on your machine, it kind of looks like those loops there. If you can't see it here, you'll see it when I finish the fabric. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch. And hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll have this set up a little bit differently with the camera switches, but we'll see. So I want my thread always between the foot. And although it doesn't look like it on this foot, there is an opening. There's an opening between the left side and that guide. So just put my fabric on. It's all threaded. Again, I'm using black thread. This stitch is also really, really nice on the edge of a fleece blanket. I've done it quite a few times, and when I do it, I always get compliments about it. So you can play with your stitches. Just because it says it's an overcast stitch, don't buy it. Try it. Try it out on something else and see how it looks. So this is what it looks like. I'll hold it up a little bit. And you got a nice clean edge. There's the back side of it. Again, a nice clean edge. Try to make sure you're not too blurred here. There we go. But that's one way to clean up your edge of your garment on the inside. But again, like I said, you can use this on the outside like a blanket and use it as if it's a blanket stitch. So the next one, I'm dropping things here, sorry. Like always in our sewing rooms, right? We drop stuff, we forget we dropped it, and then we can't find it. So again, using that same foot, I'm going to change this stitch now to, and again, I'll try to show you what it looks like, to make sure. It looks like a regular zigzag, sort of. Oh, here, you can see it here, I think. I still got blurring in that, but I almost had it. Okay, I think there we go. It looks like a regular zigzag stitch. And I'm going to turn this fabric to the other side. And again, line it up with the edge of your guide there. So there's a little bar in the center here, in this hole, this opening here, that which is where the needle goes kind of back and forth over it. So the needle goes back and forth. And if you're playing with these stitches, just hand wind it to make sure that your needle's not going to hit that pressure foot, because it's got to pass this bar. It's got to go over this bar, but then it goes over to the other side as well. So I'll do it slow so you can see it. See, it just went over the bar, and I'm going to come back. Then it's going to do it again. So this one is good for medium to heavyweight fabrics. That first one was good for kind of your normal cotton fabric that I'm using, or something that's a medium to regular to medium weight. This one is for medium to heavyweight. So actually, I'm going to run this, and then I'm going to change the thread and change the fabric and let you see what it looks like on that heavier fabric. I have a piece of a wool blend. It's a little bit heavier than this cotton, or a lot heavier than this cotton. So I'll let you see it here, and then I'll change the thread. It's got a lot more thread in it, so it's heavier for that heavyweight fabric, and that's what it looks like on the back. So let me change thread and my bobbin, because I want them to match, and show you what it looks like on a heavier fabric. I'm sorry, for some reason I'm not seeing comments. I don't know if there are any, but I will try to take a look afterwards. Let's see. I'll take a look after we do this darker fabric. And I have some white thread here already. And it doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. I heard it catch onto something. So just going to thread the machine as normal. And I use my needle threader, which I love on this machine. Well, on any machine, actually. Had my black thread caught in there. So I think everybody knows that you should cut your thread at the top of your machine and pull it from the bottom. And even though that black thread got caught in there from the other spool, I still didn't back out of it. I just kept pulling it till it came out. Sort of kind of how we thread our sergers the fast way. We tie them together and pull the threads through. But again, this is for people who don't have a serger, or you're just looking for a different way to a different look. Think about that too. It doesn't always have to be a utility stitch for utility's sake. It could be a utility stitch for the look. So I'm going to leave it on that one that we just did, because again, that stitch is really good for heavier weight fabrics. So again, I'm keeping it on the edge of that guide. And you can see this is pretty raveled. It's got lots of strings hanging off, so not long ones. So I'm just gonna let the machine do the work. I'll grab all that stuff and put it together. I'm gonna stop there. So there it is. So this little bit of frame that's left, they cut that off, but the majority of it is inside there now. So there's the front. I think you can see that pretty well. And then there's the back. And again, just cut these off. I'll cut some off to show you. Don't cut your threads. Just cut whatever's left. And there it is, nice and clean. Again, here's the back. Now, I have, for decorative purposes, I have used the back of this as the part that's showing. So like I said, just kind of be open-minded and do some testing and see what you like. So that's that stitch. And then we have a different stitch, which is going to look like this. Let me pull that one up. So it's going to be kind of loops. See if we can get it in there. Ah, there's a pretty good picture of it. I'm thinking when I reset my cameras for the next one, we'll get better pictures. We'll see. But that's kind of a loop. So that one is used on really lightweight fabrics. So here I'm going to change my stitches to, I was on number 7 on my machine. I'm going to change it to, first I'm going to change it to a utility stitch. And then I'm going to change it to, from there, to number 8 on my machine, which is an Overcast, a different Overcast. But that's those loops. And then I have some really thin polyester here that I actually use for pockets. And just kind of think of the fabric that you use for linings and organza and some of the other ones. Organza, I wouldn't do this. I would want to enclose those stitches because you can see through it. But something that's not sheer, this is a great opportunity. So I'm purposely using my raw edges. I actually ripped these pieces of fabric. So I get a lot of raw edges there. So doing that on purpose. And so far, everything I've done has been right sides together because you're thinking about the inside of your garment. And so, ooh, I've got fraying and static here. Cut some of that off. Okay, so the same thing against that guide. And once you get it set, double check it. If you're not sure, you can always hand wind it, and just to be sure. This is for your lighter weight fabric. So the stitch width, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about it on the other ones, but the stitch width on this one is 4.0 and the length is 2.3. If you don't have 2.3, you can use 2.5. On some of my stitches, it says that I need a 2.5 and I can't get there. It goes straight to 3. That's fine. That's when you do the hand crank first to make sure it's not hitting your presser foot. You may not, like I say, you may not have 2.3. Even if it goes to 2.5, I would still check it. It's a slight difference, but it's worth checking first. And when I looked up, I went off a little bit, so I'm going to get back on the guide now. And I'll show you where I went off. You know, like the dog comes in or your kid comes in and they distract you and you turn your head and you look back and you're sewing crooked. That's what I just did. All right, I'm going to go all the way to the end so you can see the difference and where I kind of missed. And I got a lot of fraying from this piece of fabric. I'll take that out. So this is where I started here. I'm on the edge. There's my other side. It looks different from those last ones. You got loops on the front and the back here. The other ones you had more of a zigzag pattern. So you got more of the zigzag pattern on the top. And then this is where I went off the edge. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can see that there where I missed those edges because I wasn't paying attention. And then this is when I went back to the edges. So I got a nice clean finish. So this one, because it's for the lighter weight fabrics, it's not as much thread in the stitches. Where the other ones you saw pretty heavy thread. Those are pretty heavy, especially you can really tell from the back. And this one is nice and flat. Nothing happening there that shouldn't be, except when I didn't pay attention. But then I got back on track. And that's kind of what I teach my new students, especially kids who are learning how to sew for the first time and can't sew straight. They don't have confidence in their ability to sew straight. And they're still learning. When they go off a little bit, I don't make them take those stitches out. I just tell them to straighten it back up and keep going because I don't want them to get frustrated. And then sometimes I have to show them how to get back on track, but I still don't take the stitches out. If it's really bad, if they went this way, then I might take the stitches out. But I just keep going. Leave that and keep going. So if this was the inside of my garment, I would probably leave this too and just cut that close to those threads, that little bit that I did. If I did the whole thing wrong, then that's a whole different scenario. So here it is on the inside. You don't see those stitches at all. And I'm giving it quite a bit of a tug. But this is for finishing. This is not for construction because you don't have a solid stitch in here to support your fabric. And then the last one, well, that was the last one with this foot. So I'm going to stop and see if we have any comments. I think I see some. Hold on a second. Oh, I have a lot of comments. Sorry, guys. Hi, Reen. Hi, Nathan. I like that name. Caroline. Hello. Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Sandy. And Mary Alice. That's what I see so far. Okay, so Reen asked, I think Reen asked the first question. Are you stitching one layer of fabric or two? So all of those were two because I'm showing how to finish a garment on the inside. So if that's your two front pieces or your front and your back piece together, that's the side of your garment. Let me put my face up here while I'm talking to you. And then maybe I can pull some things up here. So that would be the side, think about the side of your garment or even your back seam. Then you want to finish that with two pieces together, the front side and the back side together, or the two backs together, shoulders together, underarm, all of that. You could do it on the edge of a garment on one layer, but that depends on what look you're going for. So what I do sometimes with my serger is I will edge finish the front of a, like dusters. I make a lot of dusters, right? So the front of my dusters, I'll edge finish them with the serger, and then I'll put my bias binding or my band or whatever on top of that. And I do that because I really want the weight of that thread in that garment. So the more thread you put in the garment, the more weight you're going to get. The less thread, the less weight. So think about what you're making and how you want to make it. So like this heavier one that we did here, because I use that heavier stitch for a heavier fabric, I'm going to get a little more weight to this fabric. So let's say if this was the band of something or going on the band, then I get a really nice drape because it would pull that fabric down a little bit. And then let's see who else we have here. So I'm on StreamYard for the first time. That's one reason I'm struggling with the camera, but I'll figure it all out. Yes, Bonnie, this is a really great, all three of these are really great alternative to sergers, because everybody doesn't have a serger, and some people won't take the sergers out of the box. And when they do, they won't touch it. But yeah, it's a great alternative. And because I use my serger all the time, and when I'm showing something or teaching something or demoing something, people say, well, I don't have a serger. I don't have a serger. So I do hear that a lot. So that's why I thought I'd use this foot first. So the foot is an Overcast foot, Sandy. And if you don't have one, you can get one. I'm going to add the link to a couple of things at the end of this. But yeah, it's an Overcast foot. Some people call it a serger foot, but the industry doesn't call it a serger foot. It is an Overcast foot. And some people call it overstitch or overlock foot. But when you look for it to purchase, it's going to be Overcast foot. Sorry, Bonnie, if there's a delay. Which stitch did you like, Mary Alice? All of them? All right, so I think I've got all the comments. So I'm going to go to what we call our regular foot. I'm going to switch my camera. So actually, no, I'm going to pull it back up so you can see the foot. I got it hiding on top of my machine so I wouldn't lose it. But this is our regular foot, but this one has a leveler. So on my machine, it's an A foot. And I think on some machines, I think it's a D foot or something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But this is like our regular foot with the opening at the bottom, kind of closed in the middle or close to in the middle, just enough to get your thread stitch, your stitches in there. But it has this little button here. And this button is called a leveling button. So sometimes this foot is called a leveling foot. And what it does is when you get to a really thick part of your fabric, you push this once. You stop before you get to that hump. We all know what the hump is. Before you get to that hump, you stop. You push this once. I used to push it a couple of times until I learned not to do that. But push it once, let it go over. And what it does is, sometimes when you sew really thick things together, you get skip stitches, or you get lock stitches, or you get all sorts of things going on. But the main thing you get is you get skip stitches, or you get kind of uneven stitches. This will prevent all of that. It'll go over it, stitch it, and once it passes the hump, it will reset itself. So you don't need to mess with this but once per hump. If that makes sense. Okay, I'm cracking myself up. Once per hump. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to use the foot first to finish, and then we're going to talk about this a little bit more. So let me get set up. I think I'm going to stick with the white thread for a minute because I'm going to use this heavier fabric. Mainly because you can see it. And I can kind of fold it and get a heavier part in there in a minute here. So I always put my threads between the toes and push it to the back. I don't want threads up here because they get caught up in your machine. So this little part right here is exactly what happened. I didn't have the thread to the back, like right at the beginning of this. and it moved. So it kind of bunched up there a little bit. Made me nervous because I was live, but it was all okay. But that's because I didn't put it between the toes. No other reason, just because it got mad at me. So here we're going to set it for a regular zigzag stitch. We're still talking about finishing without a serger. So on my machine, it's a number 4. It's just a regular stitch. I don't think I took a picture of that one. I don't think I did, but let's see. Okay, so it's not, I'm sorry, it's not a regular. It looks like what we call the stretch zigzag. On my machine, it's number 5. And let me go back to this other screen. I'll show you. So if you can see this, you might just have to count over, but okay, you may not be able to see it. What happens with the number 5 stitch, or with this particular stitch, it's called a stretch stitch actually. So if you use it on the knit, it will work well on the knit, but it kind of has skips in it, as you will. So it's not a straight line zigzag. It's a zigzag and a space, zigzag space until it gets to the first point, and then it goes back and it continues to do that. So it'll do the spaces in there, and that causes the fabric to stretch, or allows the fabric to stretch. So it's not a regular zigzag, although you could use a regular zigzag on a lot of things, actually, a lot of things. So anywhere, if you don't have it, let's think, if you don't have these stitches, then you can use your zigzag stitch for this. So let's do a quick demo here. And the same thing. So here you have to find what your guide is. So, so sorry. Right now I'm stitching on the edge, and I'll show you where that is on my foot. And then I'm going to switch, and I'm going to come back and show you. So now I'm going to put my fabric on the edge of my presser foot right here, and do it again. And always test, decide which one you like better, which look you like better. So on the edge, it's kind of okay to use this foot, to use this stitch and this foot together. It's kind of okay, but you can see some of the fraying is there. You could cut that away and still be okay. This is what the back looks like a zigzag. And then here, I stitched at my, I think I'm at about 3/8 of an inch here. And what I can do, let's pretend this is 5/8 of an inch, which is where we normally would stitch, right? And then what you can do is just cut this away. Don't cut your stitches though. Be very careful. And I'm using my Kai scissors, which cuts everything. But I abused them when I had that cast on, because the cast was cutting into my thumb, the space between my forefinger and my thumb, and I used my Kai scissors to cut some of that away. Don't tell anybody. But they're still cutting fine. But I won't do that again, because then I switched from the scissors to the wire cutter. But I did the scissors because I was desperate. So that's what it looks like when I cut it away. It's a nice, neat stitch. And again, there's the back. That's a knot I have my machine set for a lock stitch. Yeah, that's that. So let's fold this over. So I'm going to do, I think we're going to be brave and do 6 layers and see what happens. So now I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to turn this back to a regular straight stitch, because now we're talking about this leveling button. So I'm going to, let me go the other way because I want to start. So I'm going to start here where I only have 2 layers of fabric, and I'm going to go until my hump is just before the needle. It doesn't have to be exactly before the needle, but just as you see your fabric going under that foot, or you actually see your foot kind of lift up a little bit. If it lifts up on its own without help from this button, then you're going to get jagged stitches or uneven stitches or skip stitches. So I'm going to push this button once. That's it. And then let it continue. And remember, this is 6 layers. So I've got perfectly even stitches on the front. And I got perfectly even stitches on the back. Had I not used that button, I would have jags either on the top or the bottom or both, which means I would have gaps in my stitching on my garment. And so here's the inside, if I can show you. I don't think I stitched enough to show you, but it's nice and neat in there too. You can see it because of the white thread a little bit, I think. And then let's see if you have questions. Oh, good, Caroline. It's good that you use them. Ah, Mary Alice, you liked all of them. Okay, so does anybody have this foot with the leveler attached? Or or is anybody still using the Gina jig? I think it was, or Jigamajig, I don't know what it was. But it was this big contraption that you put in front of the foot and it goes under, and that thing always scared me. I always thought I was gonna hit it with my needle. So I probably only used it twice and I gave up on it and got a surgeon not long after that. Because even this thickness, if I put the 6 layers through my serger, it may or may not stitch them. Sometimes your surgeon won't do all that. They'll be like, "What are you doing? Get your sewing machine out. This is not my job." Yeah, I don't see any questions, and I, I stream this into Facebook, but I don't see the Facebook comments, so I'll have to figure that out for the next one. So if there's no more questions, we are done for today, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with 2 more feet. If you have presser feet that you want help with, need help with, want demos, let me know. Because like I said, there are 34, and I think I have most of them. I think I have 30, so I'm very close. I have to look and see what I don't have and order more. All right, everybody, thank you for coming. I will see you in 2 weeks. Oh, announcements. I'm sorry, I won't see you in 2 weeks, or maybe I will. So let me look because I get my dates all wrong. So I redone my website, updated it a lot. I think it looks a lot better than it used to look. Poor website. Uh, and when I did that, one of the things I did was I added a class. So I have the PJ class on my website now, and I can't get my phone to stop doing what it's doing. So that class is scheduled for April 20th. I'm sorry, it's not April. For January 20th, and it will be at 2 p.m. I think I like 2 p.m. Those are Fridays, so that's why I'm doing that because I'm doing my hand therapy on Friday mornings, and then I just can do that the same day. So it's already on the website. The class is live. Um, the price is there. And the nice thing about this class is you don't need a pattern. You only need a comfy pair of pants. I'm actually going to use because I have almost all skinny jeans myself. So skinny jeans are not a good idea for this class or for this PJs because you want them to fit loose. You don't want them to be tight. Uh, and and the fabrics that I've mentioned that I suggested don't stretch. So those don't work for skinny jeans and skinny pants. Um, so comfy pair of pants is all you need. And then you need some tracing paper. If you don't have tracing paper, I have the link in the description for it. But if you aren't ready to purchase that, because they don't come in small amounts, they come on rolls. I think 10 yards might be the smallest amount. You can use any paper. You can use some craft paper that you tape together, some printing paper that you tape together, some brown packing paper, the wrong side of gift paper. We all have gift wrap, right? This Christmas just passed. You can use the wrong side of your gift wrap if it's white or light color. You just need some paper, and you need enough for 2 lengths of U. So I know from me to the floor is a yard. So I know I need at least 2 yards of that fabric or that paper. So, and that's the way to buy your fabric. Just kind of figure out what you are from your waist to whatever length you want. You might want pajama shorts. You don't have to make pants. Just kind of measure it, and that'll determine, and then double that, whatever that length is, double it. So if it's, like I said, if it's 36 inches, then you'll need 2 yards. And I get like 2 1/4 maybe, just for hems and all that stuff. So you don't need a lot. There are some other tools you need, but they're just basic tools. Your scissors, your paper scissors, your fabric scissors. Uh, don't make your scissors your cast scissors. Don't do that. Don't tell Kai that I did that. Well, maybe we should because the scissors still work well. But yeah, it's on the website, endlessdesignsbycarrie.com. It's there. And a few other things are there. I've taken some things off, added some things on, but take a look at my new updated website and let me know what you think. Okay, everyone, I will see you on Facebook. Bye.